Hi, my name is Matt Mazer, and I'd like to introduce one of my favorite books to use in the classroom. It's called John, Paul, George, and Ben by Lane Smith. This is a book that spans across the curriculum. It integrates social studies with English language arts. The book is basically about the founding fathers when they were children, and it's incredible because it's easy for children to relate to the context because of the illustration styles and the text and the concept of the book. I like this book for a number of reasons. The very first of which is that I'm very patriotic, and this is a theme that you don't see much in elementary school classrooms, but is definitely a valuable lesson to learn. Um, this is a book that covers Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and some of the other founding fathers, and I love the idea of patriotism in the classroom, and I intend to definitely use this book for that reason. There are a number of other uses for this book in the classroom, and a number of other reasons why I like it. One of which is the fact that it has incredible illustrations. So this is a really good example of Lane Smith's illustration style. He's both the author and the illustrator, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit so that you can see how he portrayed George Washington. And as you can tell, the picture isn't realistic. It's not something that you would see in a book for adults. It's more of something that's more very fictional and that children can really relate to. Um, if you look really closely, it looks like it's actually been painted. The image is cracked as if it's a really old painting. Kind of represents the founding fathers and how they come from an older time period. Um, and so another example of these illustrations here, if you look at the house there, it's it's an interesting color. It's a deep red, but also you can see the texture on it. That's another thing that Lane Smith does is really portray texture really well in his illustrations. What I'm going to go ahead and do is show you a few different illustrations for some of his other books that are really outstanding, and hopefully you'll get the same sense from those books that you do in this one here. Children love these books because you can see so much more than you could just hear when somebody's reading you the story or read the story yourself, because there's so much going on the page and it's so interesting and engaging. Finally, I'd like to talk about Lane Smith's use of text and language. As you can see on this page, it says, "Please shut your big yap," which obviously is not something that you would have heard the founding fathers say when they were children, but it's something that Lane Smith has added into the book in order to keep it engaging and in order to make it a little bit more fun. When children hear things like your big yap, shut your big yap, they just love that kind of thing and they go crazy for it in the classroom. And it consequently, they're just going to enjoy the book that much more. And so that's a really good example of Lane Smith's use of text and word choice. Um, as you can see here, he kind of changes the size of the text. It's not always huge, it's not always small. Up at the top, it's just some general text and it's a little smaller, but then he listed a little bit of quote from Benjamin Franklin, and it says, "Fish and visitors stink after 3 days." He did that in a different size font, and that really brings it out and it makes the page a little bit more appealing. So in conclusion, John, Paul, George, and Ben is not only one of my favorite books, but it's also an outstanding resource to use in the classroom. It integrates American history, which is social studies, right into any English language arts lesson. So I love it because it's very patriotic, and I'm a very patriotic person. It's also, I love the illustrations. They're very interesting and engaging, and the text and word choice are just unmatched. Lane Smith really knows what he's doing, and so I would definitely recommend this book to anybody who's looking to create an outstanding lesson in English language arts.